किया था तब एक लड़के ने, छोटा बच्चा था, he was in 10th grade and he reached out to me. Now he didn't have any idea, okay, like any idea whatsoever कि मुझे बात भी कैसे करनी है एक प्रोफेशनल से, because when you reach out to someone you think about it in a very professional sense कि मैं करियर चूज करना चाहता हूँ, हाउ शुड आई गो अहेड विद दिस, सो दैट conversation is a bit professional conversation at least at the start, and then eventually let's say
IIT, AIEEE and CET, right? Like, did you prepare for IIT or did you only prepare for like CET and 12?
now that you've made a decision that PCM is for me, there are a plethora of vocational subjects which you can choose from. I chose कि colleges कैसे select करना, where do you want to be, AIEEE, IITs, the state colleges. In our case it was, in my case it was CET, and in your case as well. So CET, like state colleges target करना. How did I do it? At least in Maharashtra, the state exam, the CET exam and the AIEEE exam are entirely two different exams, so to say. And preparation for those two exams were different. I've seen many folks who didn't do good in their, let's say, even 12th, and then they got into VIT, and then they didn't do good in VIT as well, but in life they are doing very good.
But yeah, welcome everyone to this channel, and thank you Ajinkya for being the first guest on the podcast. Really thankful, and also I think मेरे को अगर फटाक से बोलना है अजिंक्य के बारे में, I think he is very resourceful. You can talk to him about like astrology, tech, history, कुछ भी बोल सकते हो, and he'll know everything like up to like most accurate detail. So I think in this podcast, but in this episode, we'll cover his career tips, and I think he's achieved a lot in his career. But I think what we want to cover in this episode is more about like bachelor's and master's के बीच में जो job का period रहता है. Like, is it advantageous to have a job between masters and bachelors? If you're in masters, internships कैसे apply करते हैं, full time jobs के लिए कैसे apply करते हैं, how do you reach out to your alumni network, right? Like, instead of cold emails, like what's the good way of reaching out, career fairs में कैसे behave करते हैं, right? So these kind of topics I think we'll cover, and later on we'll also touch upon briefly computer science and implications of AI on computer science. But we'll have another episode with Ajinkya where we'll go into like details कि actually AI अभी कौन से market में जा रहा है, is computer science the right field? If yes, then what kind of subfield is better for in terms of like AI, right? So ये सारे cover होंगे in the next episode, but in this episode we'll going more wider as compared to more in depth. So with that, welcome Ajinkya to this podcast. And I think I'll start with a very basic question saying, how was your day?
My day was okay. It was lazy. It was a little bit laid back. So for the context, today is Sunday, and I really wanted to like recover, get some energy so that I can get ready for the next week. Next few weeks are gonna be like long weeks for me, work-wise and stuff. So getting ready for that. That's why for today I thought maybe I'll just relax and take it easy.
Nice. I think Sunday, Saturday are more like relaxing for folks in US, because I think weekdays are quite brutal. But I think let's rewind a little bit and let's try to understand कि bachelor's में when I was in 11th, 12th, and I think when Ajinkya also was in 11th, 12th, हमको PCM था, physics, chemistry, maths and biology. So Ajinkya, how did you go about like choosing कि क्या करना है? Like, do you want to do physics, chemistry, maths or physics, chemistry, biology? And I think we also had like AIEEE, IIT, CET, right? So how did you go about like deciding?
Yes, plethora of options, and I can totally understand कि ये काफ़ी overwhelming हो सकता है बहुत लोगों के लिए. So it starts when you are in like 9th standard में होते हो, 9th standard ish, तब जाके तुम 9th 10th ish, so it's more like 9th and 10th combined, कि तुम एक conscious decision, तुम्हें somewhere ये आना शुरू होता है realization कि अरे ये तो हमें आगे जाके करना है, but we don't know where we want to be, or let's say we are in the process of choosing where we want to be, right? So one of PCM or PCB, the basic criteria applies, at least in my opinion. If you are good at maths but not that good at bio in your 10th, maybe you know your answer. If you are good at bio, not that good at math, not that good at maths, yes, you know your answer. But let's say for the folks who are confused as to what should I choose, okay, that's gonna be a very big decision for those folks, and that's where you wanna think about beyond PCM and PCB, maybe like next 10 years down the line, or maybe the whole life कि hey, doctor बनना चाहिए, engineer बनना चाहिए. Yeah, it's not just engineer or doctor, it's more about कि मुझे मेरे life में करना क्या है. Okay, that's gonna be a very crucial thing to think about, especially for a 15-year-old, like 10th grade people are like folks are like 15, so उनके लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी हो जाता है कि हमने मतलब हमें थोड़ा सा एक थॉट देना चाहिए, मे बी स्टार्ट टॉकिंग टू सम पीपल, स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट पीपल हु आर अराउंड यू कि ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, क्या मुझे मेरी लाइफ ऐसी मैं देख सकता हूँ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल
Like, how did you imagine your life to be?
या एग्जैक्टली, लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दैट कि मैं एक्चुअली काफ़ी क्लियर था व्हेन आई वाज इन माय 10th दैट मैंने कोडिंग जो थी वो रिलेटिवली मेरे लाइफ में जल्दी शुरू की थी, लाइक व्हेन आई वाज इन 6th ग्रेड कि तब मैंने लाइक आई जस्ट गॉट स्टार्टेड विद इट, लाइक जावा का एक कोड लिख दिया, समथिंग वेरी सिंपल. एंड देन इवेंचुअली लाइक इन द 7th 8th ग्रेड आई वाज इन अ पोजीशन जहाँ पे मैं एक छोटा सा गेम लिख पाऊँ, लाइक टिक टैक टो और हैंगमैन मे बी, simple things, nothing too fancy, but I just knew what to expect from computer science, right? And which is a very important thing. And let's say if folks are watching this, or you know someone who is in that stage of their life, 6th 7th grade mein, maybe I would encourage you to encourage them to just get a hang of it कि क्या है ये, कैसा चलता है, right? Because just curiosity, it's nothing like you don't have to commit anything.
Right.
Coming back, so 9th 10th के बच्चे, नाउ यू लेट्स से सी कि हाँ यार कंप्यूटर साइंस का करियर फैंसी होता है, ये होता है, बट आई वुड स्टिल एनकरेज यू टॉकिंग टू पीपल. आई हैव टॉक टू वन गाय, ओके, आई टेल यू, व्हेन आई वाज इन यूएस एंड आई जस्ट स्टार्टेड विथ माई जॉब हियर, लाइक मेरा जो करंट जॉब है उसको मैंने स्टार्ट किया था, तब एक लड़के ने, छोटा बच्चा था, ही वाज इन 10th ग्रेड एंड ही रीच्ड आउट टू मी. Now he didn't have any idea, okay, like any idea whatsoever कि मुझे बात भी कैसे करनी है एक प्रोफेशनल से, बिकॉज व्हेन यू रीच आउट टू समवन यू थिंक अबाउट इट इन अ वेरी प्रोफेशनल सेंस कि मैं करियर चूज करना चाहता हूँ, हाउ शुड आई गो अहेड विद दिस, सो दैट कॉन्वर्जेशन इज अ बिट प्रोफेशनल कॉन्वर्जेशन एटलीस्ट एट द स्टार्ट, एंड देन इवेंचुअली लेट्स से एज यू गेट टू नो ईच अदर यू गेट अ लिटिल बिट इनफॉर्मल मे बी कि तुमने क्या किया था या ऐसा. उनका मैसेज मुझे बहुत अच्छे से याद है. आई एम श्योर ही मस्ट बी डूइंग गुड इन हिज लाइफ, आई एम टोटली श्योर. भैया मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है, मैं 10th स्टैंडर्ड में हूँ और मुझे तुम्हारे जैसा बनना है, मैं क्या करूँ. ओके, एंड आई वाज लाइक ओके, एंड दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी genuine, very candid thing which anyone could have asked anyone, okay, especially when you think about your life, he was looking at his life. I gave him some good pointers that देखो तुम्हारे लिए 12th important है, you should take PCM, and to PCM with a computer science vocational, I believe vocational बोलते हैं उसे, right? Vocational subject, and then take a taste of it. If you like it, yes, go on. If you don't, maybe it's not for you. Fair enough. Okay, you can still be in a situation जहाँ पे तुम change कर सकते हो, but just having the feeling कि someone who have already been through this and is somewhere where I want to be, तुम्हें बता रहा है, it just gives you immense assurance. That's what I can totally think of, because अगर मैं reach out करता तो शायद मुझे भी मिलता.
Nice.
Yeah, so good part about that is कि I have a elder cousin जो कि let's say मुझसे 4 years elder है, so he went through the whole process and I sort of knew how the process went, which is very empowering.
And it's also very interesting to see कि यार 10th standard का बच्चा, like right now if you see our LinkedIn messages, it's all about like किसी ने ChatGPT में डाल दिया है कि यार how to approach people, और वही copy paste करके they sometimes forget to change the name also, right?
Exactly.
Like मेरे को बहुत बार आया कि hi Ram, hi Rajesh, because they forget to change names. I understand because people are desperate, they are sending message to 50 or different people, but I think ये काफी pleasurable है where like someone who's so young is reaching out to you with like raw message कि यार भैया मेरे को help चाहिए, can you help me?
Yes.
And मुझे आपके साथ बनना है, like it's firstly confidence देता है कि यार कुछ तो मैं हूँ life में और वो अच्छा हूँ, but also like let me shape someone else's career who is so
Precisely.
So again this comes from a fact कि instead of sending long messages on LinkedIn, people don't really have time to read those. Sending 2-liners which is so genuine will definitely attract more more attention from people. But I think coming back to the point of let's say IIT, AIEEE and CET, right? Like did you prepare for IIT or did you only prepare for like CET and 12th?
Good. Yes. Good that we touched upon this. Now, extension to what I said कि तुमने let's say you came to this realization that चलो भाई engineer बनना है, because I am an engineer, so I'll talk about it with a perspective that someone wants to be an engineer, someone is looking at a career of engineering from a long term standpoint. So PCM is a way to go. PCB, no. PCMB, maybe, yes. if you are not sure as to biology jana, engineering jana, still not sure, PCMB is a good choice. Go for it. It's gonna be a little bit taxing at times because M और B दोनों को एक साथ manage करना is very tricky, so to say. It's very difficult. बट अगर तुम कर पाते हो एंड यू गेट अ क्लैरिटी दैट है यार मैथ्स नहीं है मेरे लिए, बी है मेरे लिए, बायोलॉजी मैं कर सकता हूँ अच्छे से, देन गो फॉर बायोलॉजी. Good. Now that you've made a decision that PCM is for me, there are a plethora of vocational subjects which you can choose from. I chose computer science because I sort of, as I said, I was clear that long term career मेरा computer science में बन सकता है. My family also came from a place where they were also encouraging me to do computer science because of the lucrative financial jobs which you may get in computer science in the future. क्योंकि उन्होंने कुछ examples देखे उनके life में जो कि computer science लिए हैं अच्छा कर रहे हैं life में. That said, coming to कि colleges कैसे select करना, where do you want to be? AIEEE, IITs, the state colleges. In our case, it was in my case it was CET, and in your case as well. So CET, like state colleges target करना. How did I do it? Two things. You have to be realistic, and you have to you should be willing to work hard because 12th is nothing like 10th standard. So तुम्हें 12th में extensively push करना पड़ता है अपने आप को in order to get even a decent enough college. I'm not saying like the best colleges because the best colleges are very competitive.
Right.
And of course you should target for the best colleges, otherwise what's the point of it, right? So yes, I very early got this realization that IIT may be out of reach for me because IIT जो होता है वो you have to be really good at many things like biology. You should sorry, not biology, so physics. You should be very good at physics. You should be very good at chemistry. And you should be very good at maths. I mean, obviously, right? That's what IIT exam is based on. I kind of came to this realization that मैं उतना अच्छा नहीं हूँ. I can target AIEEE colleges, like I can get to an NIT if I really would have pushed hard. But I sort of had to make this practical decision because at least in Maharashtra, the state exam, the CET exam and the AIEEE exam are entirely two different exams, so to say. And preparation for those two exams were different. Okay. Think about it in a way that AIEEE you have I think 30 questions or 40 questions per subject. I'm forgetting, but I think yeah, कम questions रहते हैं and you have more time, so you have like 4 to 5 minutes per question. Okay, whereas in CET you have 2 hours and
120-ish, I think.
150 questions, 50
sorry.
maths, 50 chemistry, and 50 physics. And in physics chemistry you have like physics chemistry and maths both, I think something like that, but you have less than a minute per question in CET, so the preparation model changes.
Interesting.
I prepared for both of these. I attempted very seriously towards an AIEEE and wanted to go to like VNIT, which is Nagpur, which is close to my hometown. So I was attempting for that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in my case because I was very fixated on I want to do computer science. That's one thing which I was very sure of. And CET was also a very serious option. So in terms of CET, I've attempted VJTI from Mumbai and SPIT, Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, which is computer science, which has computer science, and the other
SPCE.
Yeah, it does not have computer science, right?
Right.
So I attempted the SPIT and the Sardar Patel from Mumbai, no, VJTI from Mumbai, and in Pune it was COEP, College of Engineering Pune, VIT, Vishwakarma, where I did my bachelor's from, PICT. Based on its computer science reputations, and there were a few more like Sinhagad and MIT.
I think Ajinkya brought up two good points. The first point is being self-aware. Like, if you know कि यार IIT काफी difficult है, it's fine if you don't get into IIT. It's not the end of the world. There are millionaires who are not from IIT. Again, there are millions from IIT as well. But अगर IIT नहीं crack किया, then there's not like the end of the world. AIEEE है, CET है. अगर आपको अपनी औकात पता है कि यार AIEEE हम फाड़ देंगे, CET फाड़ देंगे, तो वो फाड़ दो.
Yes.
मतलब be like जिसपे एक्सेल कर सकते हो वो एक्सेल करो, जहाँ पे नहीं पॉसिबल है वहाँ पे इट्स फाइन इफ यू डोंट ट्राई इट बिकॉज इट्स 11 12 यू कैन एंजॉय योर लाइफ एज वेल. दैट्स वन पॉइंट ही बॉट अप. द सेकंड पॉइंट ही बॉट अप वाज वोकेशनल सब्जेक्ट कंप्यूटर साइंस, राइट? आई टुक इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग जस्ट बिकॉज इलेक्ट्रिकल मेंटेनेंस बिकॉज इट वाज इजी, जो मेरे को बोला था, एंड इट वाज द वर्स्ट डिसीजन बिकॉज मेरे को लगा कि प्रिपरेशन कम करना पड़ेगा इलेक्ट्रिकल मेंटेनेंस के लिए, इसलिए मैंने वो लिया. बट आई सक्ड एट इट बिकॉज आई डिडंट लाइक द फाइनल एग्जाम वाज बेसिकली वायर्स दिए, मशीन दिया है, दे वर लाइक मैप करो वायर्स इन मशीन. आई डिडंट इवन नो क्या करना है, सो आई जस्ट लाइक मेड एक्सेस विद द वायर्स एंड देन शी लाइक यू डोंट इवन पे अटेंशन टू दिस क्लास, like why do you take electrical maintenance? So again, taking computer science would have helped me understand will I perform better in future or not. So vocational, like don't go for subjects which are easy, because 11th 12th is all about trying to explore what is
Yes.
possible by you and help you make more informed decisions. So again, take vocational not based on difficulty but based on what your interest lies in.
Yes.
Secondly, know your worth. I'm not saying don't overestimate yourself, you can, but like AIEEE CET, nothing bad with it, and you can still succeed with AIEEE and CET, and that's what we'll see later in the episode. But yes.
Fantastic. Yes.
Perfect. And I think once we go past that, like CET ka results aa gaya, for example, how did you choose Vishwakarma Institute of Technology?
Exactly. That's a good. That was a very interesting phase of my life actually. CET result came out, and I was disappointed in myself to the way that I would have performed a lot better than how I did. It was not bad by any means, because at least in my times, and I think right now as well, right now VIT is a university in itself. So it is deemed as a university, it got the status of university, and now it is functioning as a university in itself. I don't know if it still gets admissions from VIT, but during my time it used to. So the decision for me was, I got into, I mean, I was in a position where I I I lost the admission into COEP information technology course by like 1 mark or 2 marks, something like that, which was a close call, and and which was the second best. So for me, the choice was like either PICT Pune or VIT Pune. The why I did opt for VIT was because of its autonomy status. VIT at my time was an autonomous college. So to say, what does autonomous means? Autonomous means the college has the authority to devise its own curriculum. It doesn't have to abide to Pune University curriculum. So for example, actually I'll give you some really good examples as to how my decision turned out to be really well. And actually I didn't had all of these pointers in my mind, but long story short, autonomy of the VIT was a breaking, like was a deciding factor for me. And my cousin who I told you about, he was in MIT Pune. Okay, so we were talking about how the placement works, because the main motivation, at least for me at that time, was I was looking at what companies are hiring from these colleges, and how are students getting, what kind of opportunities are students getting by the time they graduate.
Right.
So a lot of folks were getting into Nvidia, a lot of folks were getting into Amazon, a lot of folks were getting into some of the really reputed names which all of us have heard of, and at some point have as a student have dreamed of working for. So VIT had all the checkpoints which I was looking for in a university. So I thought maybe it would be good to be in a place where the college has the liberty to tweak the curriculum based on what company wants, like what is the requirement of the industry right now. So that was the primary factor which I thought of when I chose VIT.
But how did you research about all of this? Like, how did you know about like companies and is it autonomous? Like,
Oh, okay. So that came in from actually my inquisitiveness, my interest into gaming at the time. Okay, so that's actually pretty funny. I used to do a lot of PC gaming at the time, so that was a thing of our times that we used to do a lot of PC gamings, and I used to totally love that. I still miss my time when I was like playing on my PC.
Counter-Strike?
Yeah, Counter-Strike and all sorts of things like GTA San Andreas. Oh my God, I'm such a nuts for San Andreas. Okay, so there were some games which required you to have like the GPUs, NVIDIA graphics unit installed. Okay, and I was aware of NVIDIA, and I used to, the thing is that I badgered my parents, like I totally wanted them to get me a graphic card, which they got after a lot of negotiations in the way that if you do this, get like this much percentage and
Right.
and then you'll get the graphics card, which I worked hard for it. I'm so proud of it. I'm more proud than where I'm right now. So so NVIDIA. Microsoft, all of us know Microsoft, right? Microsoft is everywhere. Microsoft Office, Microsoft, the Windows, all of this was running on top of Windows. So you know that Microsoft. Okay, I was not aware that, hey, what the nature of the job may look like after I get into Microsoft or even NVIDIA or anywhere else. But I knew that the job must be empowering because I looked up to those things when I was growing up. Even Amazon, as a matter of fact, if you think about it. Shopping, wow, this is interesting. Why not? So that sort of compelled me that, hey, NVIDIA, I've heard that name, such a good company. They're hiring from VIT, that's a good college. That must be a good college, right? So,
Interesting.
very, very simplistic way of looking at it, but it is a good way of looking at it, especially when a student is like coming to choose where he want to go. Because think, okay, company name, yes. Think about the secondary motivation or maybe the primary motivation for many folks. What packages are this company offering?
Exactly.
It's so good. It's gonna, okay. Let me just quote you some numbers during my times. Okay, so NVIDIA, I believe, used to pay like 12 or 14 lakh rupees per year, which comes down to like slightly over a lakh rupees. And after,
for people right now, 12 lakhs might seem low for you guys, but 12 lakhs was like, I think we had like dream companies and like non-dream companies, but 12 lakhs was like a dream company where it was like the higher level of company. But go ahead.
yeah, and there were companies who are paying a lot more than this as well, like Amazon, for example, 27, like Microsoft, 35 or something. So the financial offers were lucrative, they were beautiful. So yeah, a very good motivating factor that, hey, this sounds like a good career, let's try it out.
And once you did research on VIT, like were there any other factors that played into your decision making, saying यार VIT मेरे को करना है यार, मतलब you had like मेरे को 2 कॉलेज मिला है, but 2 कॉलेज में से मेरे को VIT करना है because of, let's say, lucrative factors, but other factors also.
I'll tell you, now that you said it and now that I remembered it just now. Okay, so I had a cousin, I told you. He was in MIT and he had a few friends in VIT. And I was like, okay, मुझे उनका number चाहिए, I want to talk to them, okay. He was like, अरे यार, मतलब I haven't talked to those folks in like a few months or something. And I was like, नहीं, मेरे को तो बात करना है यार, देख ले करके, मतलब कुछ तो कर. So he was like, he hesitantly messaged one of the guys and like, he's like, hey, मेरा छोटा भाई है, बात करेगा तुमसे. And he was like in final year by that time. So they have seen the whole journey, like VIT journey, so to say, in my case. So he hesitantly messaged that guy and gave me the number. I talked to them. He was a fantastic guy and he had a lot of good things to say about VIT. It just solidified my decision that, hey, if a person who is actually doing, let's say, masters, sorry, not masters, bachelors from VIT, has good things to say about the college, because he was already placed and very well placed, and he was like, okay, mera to ho gaya hai, I'm to set abhi. So if he has good things to say, probably it's the right decision. Again, that ties in with the primary point. You always, should talk to people who have already been there and done that. That just gives you that confidence that if he can do it, I can do it. Why not,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. So
Interesting. And then, like, apart from that, like, was there any like family influence that impacted your decision of choosing VIT करना है कि नहीं?
Actually, that being said, actually it's again the NVIDIA graphics card story comes into play here. So one of the criteria which my father gave me was that if you get the admission to, let's say, he had 5 universities in his mind: VJTI, SPIT, VIT, PICT, and COEP.
Okay.
If you get your admission into these 5 state colleges and NITs and stuff, that always came into picture. And if it would have been NIT, my father would have been like, okay, he would have been the happiest
सब
man.
कुछ ले ले भाई गाड़ी पैसा जो
गाड़ी बंगला सब कुछ. Yes. So if you, let's say, got into these 5 universities, I'll sponsor, you will get whatever you want. If you don't, I'll make you do BSc and MSc, and then get you a teacher's job, and then you will be a teacher for the rest of your life. Which, by the way, is not a bad job in my opinion with my current experience. But at the time, it was very intimidating to me that यार father तो अपने को नहीं support करेगा, मतलब management that's not an option for me. I have to go there and do that. So it's more like you have a 350 target to chase and Virat Kohli coming into field. He doesn't have an option कि अरे मेरा नीचे का order संभाल लेगा भाई. No, you have to perform. You are the face of the team, right?
India Pakistan Champions Trophy.
Precisely,
Exactly.
that's how it is. So
But then let's say when you were doing a bachelor's, right? I was in DJ Sangvi in Mumbai. So DJ Sangvi had a lot of like hackathons. We had like committees, CSI, ACM. Inside that we had like publicity head and something different head, right? Then we also had Trinity as our festival, cultural festival. So how much do you think though participating in those factors, in those events, impact your like bachelor life? The reason I ask is when I was in my bachelor's, मैं तो मस्ती करने जा रहा था, but there were people who were like, यार नहीं मेरे को पढ़ाई करना है, मेरे को pointer चाहिए, and then I'm not participating in any event. So like maybe it's their personality, maybe it's just like a focus, they want to not be distracted. But what would you suggest? Like, how was your experience in terms of like all these distractions plus the education?
Yeah. Great question. Great question. You know, now coming to think of it, it's more like a retrospective experience for me talking to you right here, and hopefully an educational experience for the viewers. Okay, so thinking about VIT had everything. Okay, it was a small college, so to say. The campus was like not like super huge, like maybe MIT Pune or even COP. Like these are huge colleges with like beautiful campuses and stuff. VIT was not that big, even though we had all the things which we needed, and it was a very, so to say, it was a very like a close community. Okay, so I have friends, they're still my friends, from mechanical, from production, from electronics, from no, we didn't had electrical, from chemical, from instrumentation.
Instrumentation. Wow.
Yes, so I know folks from, you know, multitude of fields, and all of them, and how their career turned out to be after, you know, they did what they did in their life, in their career. So, and not just career, like in general their life as well, because, you know, I know them at a personal level, so it turned out to be really well fantastic people all around. Okay, so I would say engineering, if you want to think about life as an engineer, when you are doing engineering, so to say, think about Three Idiots as a movie. Now, Rancho in that movie was not the kind of guy who was just, you know, sitting in his, you know, dorm or whatever and just studying day and night. He was doing everything. You know, principal का बेटी पटाया उसने. So और क्या चाहिए? I won't recommend that. But यार, तुम तुम्हारे लाइफ के एब्सोल्यूट प्राइम में हो. ओके, यू आर एट द प्राइम पीक ऑफ योर लाइफ, 18 to 22. ओके, you should do everything you can. Okay, that doesn't mean that कि तुम काम ना करो एंड भाई मतलब यही सब करते रहो, which is also like not a bad thing to do, as long as you are being good enough. Correct. I won't say that you have to be right at the top of the food chain, which is great, by the way, if you are. But let's say if you are doing good for yourself, that's also great. Okay, I've seen many folks who didn't do good in their, let's say, even 12th, and then they got into VIT, and then they didn't do good in VIT as well, but in life they are doing very good. Okay, so I know a lot of folks who are like that. Coming back, all the cultural festival, do participate. All the, you know, committees and everything, do participate. Make a lot of friends. As you know, the Anubhav Singh Bassi says, you know, in his one of his, I think TED talk, it was a TEDx conversation which he had with, you know, I don't exactly know, but I've heard him say, and that stayed with me. अच्छे दोस्त बनाओ और उनके अच्छे दोस्त बनो. Okay, because तुम्हें those situations से बाहर निकालने के, there are zillion ways in which your friends can get you out of situations which you can't even imagine was possible. Just listen to that stand-up comedy where they were writing the exam and the exactly, that was so much fun, right? So that's how I want people's life to be in engineering. Have fun, man. Do every single thing which you can. Hackathon is a very good way of really create something in a very short amount of time, like a hackathon project with, let's say, people who maybe you don't collaborate with often. I'll tell you my hackathon story. So I participated in this persistent smart Pune hackathon. So it during our time they used to have this hackathon where they used to accept the proposals, and based on the proposals they used to call a few engineering folks to Persistent and use and those folks had the opportunity to work with Persistent folks on a hackathon project. Okay, so I got that opportunity, and it was a very empowering experience for me because I got a lot of things to learn which I definitely wouldn't have learned working on the college projects, which are not bad in any way. But let's say having 6 months and having 3 days or 4 days completely changes the context of how you develop the project. So it was very empowering, and also how you can, once you have an idea, how you can do ideation around it, and then plan around it, and then implement around it maybe break down that idea into smaller chunks, and then different folks working on different smaller chunks. It's very good. College projects are raw. You just start writing from line 1 till line, I don't know, 1000 or whatever.
Exactly. I think Ajinkya brought a good point, saying like in terms of cultural festivals, you get to meet people from so many different backgrounds, and you would think, यार क्या फायदा है इससे friend करके, but eventually it's more like you are sowing the roots or like seeds for networking in future. 10 years down the line वो instrumentation वाला जो बड़ा आदमी बन सकता है, you already have a network or in with them क्योंकि वो तेरा already दोस्त. Hey everyone, sorry, but due to some technical difficulties, we'll have to cut the episode short. In the next episode, me and Ajinkya will be covering more on like how to apply for full-time opportunities after bachelor's, what kind of preparation items or what kind of websites can you use, should you do your masters in US versus Australia versus India, if in India what are some different options, and also we'll touch upon, let's say, how do you select universities for masters, how to perform at career fairs, how do you search for internships full time after you do your masters, how to leverage your alumni network. A lot to uncover actually for the masters part and post this episode. But apologies again for due to some technical difficulties, we'll have to cut this episode short down. But if you want to know more about masters, or if you have any questions that you would like us to address in the next episode, put down in the comments and also hit the subscribe button to be notified about the next episode. So thank you everyone.